Good evening and welcome to the June 24th meeting of the Florissant City Council. If you can all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry. All right, Madam Clerk, if you can, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Caputa. Here. Shildroth. Here. O'Donnell. Here. Pagano. Here. Parson.
Present.
Siam. Here. Harris. Here. Manganelli. Here. Egan. Here.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, additions to the meeting minutes of June the 10th, 2024? All right, hearing none, Councilman O'Donnell moves to approve the minutes, seconded by Councilman Shildroth. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Next, we have a presentation of a resolution for Carol Lowry by representatives of the St. Louis County Council. If you can, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Shalonda Webb, and I am the chair of the St. Louis County Council and councilwoman of the 4th District, which does include Florissant. I come before you all today giving my sincere, heartfelt condolences to the mayor in the loss of his mother, and wanting to make sure that all of St. Louis County residents take a moment and pause of a woman of such greatness. And so at this time, I will present the resolution from the St. Louis County. Resolution, St. Louis County Council, introduced by Council members Webb, Days, Dunaway, Hancock, Clancy, and Tracus. Whereas Carol F. Lowry was born in St. Louis, Missouri, to Charles and Cecilia Zoremski, and passed away on June 6, 2024, at the age of 85. And whereas Carol is preceded in death by her beloved husband of 59 years, Robert G. Lowry Sr. And whereas Carol was an active member of the St. Sabrina Church and regularly volunteered at Florissant Marketplace, Old Town Partners, and the Florissant Senior Center. Whereas Carol was also an avid and enthusiastic St. Louis Cardinals fan, but above all else, she cherished the time with her family and friends. Whereas Carol was survived by her children, Robert Jr., Kim, Tim, and David, and many grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and friends who will miss her dearly. Whereas the exemplary life of Carol Lowry is honored by the St. Louis County Council on the occasion of her passing. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the County Council of St. Louis County, Missouri, as follows. Section 1, the County Council expresses its deepest condolences to the family and friends of Carol Lowry on this sad occasion of her passing. In Section 2, the Administrative Director shall send a certified copy of this resolution to the family of Carol Lowry as a permanent token of the Council's sincere condolences and appreciation of a life well lived. Adopted June 11, 2024. Again, to you, Mayor, your family, I thank you all so much for just the kindness you all expressed to me and all of the council members. And I jokingly shared that when I met your mom, I think we were at the park one time, and I had a fundraiser or something, and I said that you was my brother from another mother. and she chuckled and she gave me a big hug. And so again, sir, my condolences. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Webb.
Thank you, Chair.
The next item on the agenda is hearing from citizens. This is a time to speak to the council on any issue not necessarily on the agenda for 3 minutes. This is not a question and answer period. If you would like to speak to a council member or the mayor, please stay until after the meeting is over. If you are here to speak on a public hearing, please wait and speak when the public hearing is announced. Do we have anybody who wants to speak today? Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next item on our agenda, which is communications, of which there are none. The next item on our agenda is public hearings. We have public hearing number 2406022. Madam Clerk, if you can, please read the public hearing.
In accordance with Section 405035 of the Florissant Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri in the council chambers in 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, June 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. on the following proposition: to amend the Zoning Code Section 405035, Article 2, Rules and Definitions, to update certain definitions. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissantmo.com.
Okay, do we have any staff members present? Oh, okay. If you can, please come forward. And please explain, well, first state your name.
I will.
Please explain.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Mayor, members of the council, to the general public. These zoning definitions will help bring the city of Florissant current to today's zoning, commercial and residential needs. Some of the things that you see in the definitions will allow different types of businesses to come into the city, still going through the Planning Commission approval process. But some of the definitions, I don't have a copy of the ordinance with me, but from my own staff report, things like access easement, we don't have a definition for that, so we put that into the zoning code. And these definitions that you have here tonight will come back again inside the zoning district. So it's going to impact all of the B districts and the M districts in one residential district that's going to be impacted on the next ordinance.
All right, thank you so much. Before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Okay, seeing no further comments, I move to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Harris. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? This
Thank you,
public
Mr.
hearing
Chairman.
is closed. Thank you so much. All right, next we have public hearing number 2406023. Madam Clerk, if you can.
In accordance with Section 405115 of the Florissant Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, June 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. on the following proposition: to authorize a special use permit for Kenneth Daniels, Kenny D's, to allow for a carry-out restaurant in a B1 local shopping district for the property located at 1939 Washington. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissantmo.com.
All right, is the petitioner present? Yes. Okay, if you can, please come forward and state your name and your city of residence.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ken Daniels. My address is 2290 Montaigne Drive here in Florissant. And we desire to have a good, fancy fast food restaurant for you coming real soon at your approval, hopefully tonight, and everything will be all right.
All right, if you can tell us a little bit about your restaurant, you know, what your menu is going to be like,
Sure.
some things like that.
We are actually a comeback restaurant. We used to be in Jamestown Mall food court, Kenny D's restaurant, where we feature pizza, you know, St. Louis style pizza, burgers, fries, you know, desserts, salads, subs, tripe, maybe, you know, just quality fast food.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a different. Last time I was here, I showed a menu. I gave you a little idea. If you'd like to see it, I can put it on. Give you an idea. If I sound like I'm about to preach, I'm a pastor, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay,
There you
all right. That's the menu we had at Jamestown Mall. It's been tweaked a little bit. Prices are a little bit different now, but that's basically what we're gonna have. We feature about 15 different styles of hamburgers that go from a basic hamburger all the way up to a quality, Philly steak burger or something like that. Yeah, pizza burger, soul food pizza, all kind of stuff.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I have.
Okay, Pastor Daniels, we have some questions from our city council. Let's start with Councilwoman Pagano.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good evening. I've not had a chance to speak with you, and you are in my ward.
Okay.
Street. So you're in the old Emos, correct?
Yes.
Is that where you're going?
Yes.
So what are your hours of operation are you planning?
It would be from Tuesday to Saturday, 11 o'clock a.m. to 8 o'clock p.m.
From 8 to 8?
From 11 to 8.
I'm sorry.
Tuesday through Saturday.
So you're closed on Sundays and Mondays?
Right.
Honestly, I think that's about it. That's an establishment that's already there. You're not serving any alcohol, correct?
Oh, no, of course not. No.
And strictly carry out?
Strictly carry out.
Like-
Yeah. Mhm.
Such as Emos was,
Yes,
right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, perfect, thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. Let's go on to Councilman Egan.
Councilwoman Pagano asked all my questions.
Okay. All right. Seeing as we don't have any more questions, before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Okay, seeing no further comments, Councilwoman Pagano moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Caputa. All those in favor?
All right.
All those opposed? All right, this public hearing is closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Can't wait to see y'all.
All right, next we have public hearing number 2406024. Madam Clerk, if you can, please read the public hearing notice.
In accordance with Section 405-100 of the Florissant zoning code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri, in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, June 24th, 2024, at 7 p.m. on the following proposition: to authorize a special use permit for a room at the inn, a family service agency, to allow for a temporary housing at rectory at St. Rose Philippine Duchesne in an R4 single-family dwelling district for the property located at 2650 Parker Road. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissantmo.com.
Is the petitioner present?
Yes.
Okay, if you can, please come forward. We have all the clergy in the house today. All right, can you please state your name and city of residence?
I am William Kempf. I am in Florissant here, 751 North Jefferson. And this is the executive director, Laurie.
I'm the executive director of Room at the Inn, Laurie Phillips. I live at 658 Brook Valley Road, Des Peres.
Okay. If you can, please explain your project to us.
Sure. So when it was announced last May that I'd be the pastor of Sacred Heart, effective of August 1st, and that I'd be assuming two other parishes, and it would have 4 sets of buildings, my mind started to go, how do I use those sites? How to make sure they're not vacant? How to make sure that they're well kept and the like? So, and in all my vast experience in doing real estate, that was a little overwhelming. Enter Room at the Inn, a 501c3 nonprofit who I was familiar with in my 2 previous pastorships. They work with families, predominantly single women with children, who find themselves, step back.
It's not your fault.
Okay, no problem. Who find themselves temporarily homeless, so as to get them into permanent housing and to give them all the support they need to become successful and functioning members of the community. Prior to the pandemic, each night those folks in the program would be driven to a different sponsoring church. They'd feed them, play with the kids, give them a cot to sleep in the floor, and then they'd drive them back to the Bridgeton campus for their day work. The pandemic obviously changed all that. And so the city of Bridgeton gave them a temporary variance to use a building to hold everything on site. They have since found that that's a better model with better effects for those folks in their program. And so the city of Bridgeton now, 2.5 years out, says, okay, you need to get that building up to the current fire codes. So they're looking for a space where they could take basically that whole program, plunk it down here while they completely renovate, gut the thing, do it quickly without having to, deal with sawdust and moving everything around. The Archdiocese of St. Louis put me in contact with Lori. We toured the facilities over at the Parker Road site and the Paddock Hill site there, the old former St. Rose Philippine Duchenne. And the rectory is a perfect fit for them. We have 4 suites and a guest room. Each of those have their own bedroom and their own full bath. The guest room also has its own full bath. There's plenty of common spaces where they can all be. Actually, I think Lori said that's actually a little bit better than where they are living at currently. So that would allow them, again, just to live there temporarily while the construction is going on. They can do that in the most expeditious way possible and then be back to work. The other added bonus to that is we have a convent, and former convent, now the office is at St. Rose, which is just across the parking lot. There's room for their counselors, the people who do their emotional well-being. Lori will speak a little bit more to that, which is just across the parking lot to again, make them ready to kind of enter back into the world. So we come before the commission asking permission for that special use. It's been the mission of the church since the time of Jesus to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to give shelter to the poor, to visit the sick. St. Rose Philippine Duchenne, that site was a former inn of the Room in the Inn program. So those are the great heritage there of the folks in that parish of knowing this organization. It's a win-win for them. For us, it gives us a little revenue stream to help keep the buildings up. It keeps the buildings from being vacant and a set of eyes on all the other properties there as well. And it keeps 3 to 4 to 5 families a month off of the streets and in a program that will get them back on their feet. The couple who just met in front of you, he said 30 years ago, he found himself without a job with his wife and his 3-month-old baby. They came to Room at the Inn, and now he was in front of you applying for a business license. So it does affect and change lives. Let me turn over to Lori just for some of the specifics about the day-to-day program.
Thank you, Father Bill. Hello, Mr. Mayor, and hello, City Council members. So our program, as Father Bill said, is a temporary shelter for homeless families. The majority of our families have an average family size of 2. We do welcome women with children, couples with children, single dads with children, and multi-generational families. So we will sometimes have a grandparent, a parent, and a child. During the day, all school-age children are in school, either in the Pattonville district where we are currently located or in the school where they came from when they became homeless or unhoused. And then we have program staff who do day services with our clients. So we do case management services, which means employment searching, housing searches. We have outside counselors who do both mental health counseling for children and adults. We have 1 day a week, we have a nurse practitioner on site and a community health worker to assist our clients with any medical or health needs that they have. And then we have a large volunteer staff who helps kind of manage our donations and manage other things that go along in the facility for our clients.
Well, I did speak with, he told me to call him Father Bill earlier.
That's
so that's
fine.
all.
Father Bill is fine.
So I just do have a few questions. I guess one of the things is I want to stress is that, again, this is going to be a temporary endeavor.
Yes.
You mentioned that it would take about 2 years before is it less than 2 years for Bridgeton?
Yeah, so the renovation of our building should take between 9 to 12 months.
Oh, okay. Okay. So a lot less than what I considered now. How are your residents chosen to have the ability to stay at Room at the Inn?
Yeah, so Room at the Inn is funded through 3 different grants that flow through St. Louis County. We get the Housing Resource Commission grant, the Emergency Solutions grant, which is a HUD grant, and then Children's Service Fund, which is specifically for our younger clients. All of our clients are referred to us through United Way 211, which connects to the St. Louis County Continuum of Care, which is an organization that HUD requires communities to have to be able to have a coordinated entry process. So all of our clients are first calling 211, and their information is taken by them, and then they are referred to the Continuum of Care, which then refers that family to the appropriate shelter. We don't have any families that walk up, and we don't accept anybody off the street. So everyone has to be referred to the shelter.
Now, clearly, you guys are 2 different entities. You're from the Archdiocese, and then you're your own 501c3. However, you mentioned that there would be some employees that are going to be working at this location. Who hires the employees, and how does that come about?
Well, for Room at the Inn, I'm the executive director, so I hire all staff. And I also manage all the external partnerships. So if we have external partners that are going to come on site to work with our clients, I manage that as well.
Okay.
And it'd be 2 different sites. So the rectory, former rectory, would be the site where the residents would stay and the families would stay. Literally across the parking lot is the office. There they would set their office for those other auxiliary services.
Okay. And is there like a curfew for people to come in? Can you explain, please?
Yeah, so we have a pretty strict schedule for our day and a curfew at night. So we have quiet hours start at 8 o'clock for our clients. So we kind of shut down all the common areas, and then people, they can still be in the common areas, but they need to be quiet, and then they're quiet in the residential section, which would be the same at the rectory. We have an 11 p.m. curfew, primarily because many of our parents are working, and they're not working sort of a 9 to 5 shift. So we've got clients who work a 3 to 11, or they work an overnight shift. And so we need to make sure that they're able to get back into the building. In addition to that, we always have staff on site. So we have 24-hour staff who are able to manage people coming in and out of the building at any given time.
Okay. You also mentioned about sending the kids to school. They may be going to the Pattonville district. Can you explain how they would get to school from Florissant if they're in?
Yes, so for families that are unhoused, the education system is a little more lenient than HUD is, and so if you become homeless in a school district, it is the district's responsibility to get you to and from school if you choose to stay in that district. If they're in the Pattonville district where we are now, or if they're in your school district, they would take the bus or be taken by their parents just like any other kid living in that district.
Okay. Then my last question is, I understand there needs to be some changes to the current facility that's owned by the Archdiocese. Is that correct, or do I have that wrong? I do have that wrong.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And we had to clean up probably 20 years of accumulated rectory things, which, and I think 3 other parishes, so I have a whole, if you need a set of Stations of the Cross from a parish, I think I got you covered. But, so really we've cleaned all this stuff up. So other than maybe some cosmetic things, I think we did the initial inspection. There's a couple minor things which they fixed, but they're ready to move in as soon as you guys are ready to let them.
All right, well, thank you so much. We have some more council representatives that have some questions. So let's begin with Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't really have a question. I just want to say that as a school counselor for my day job in a local school district, over many years I've seen where Room at the Inn has been a service to the community, and I've brushed up close with families who have been served by this ministry. So thank you so much for your work in the community, and I think this should work out, in my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Harris. Let's go on to Councilman Egan.
Good evening. I have a few questions. In the rectory, there are 4 suites. Is that what I heard you say, Father?
That is correct.
And what's the maximum capacity of each suite?
So that's a great question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you define that. Again, they're families that live together. I know one of the suites, the pastor suite, is the entire length of the building, so that's 40 feet on that side, just for his common room, and then there's a bedroom and the bathroom off that. I think most of the bedrooms are like, I would guess, 12 by 15, maybe 12 by 18. I would have to go back and look at the blueprints for more than that. But again, you know, most families are 2 or 3 at the most.
Do we have a maximum size on a family we would put in a suite?
So it depends on the composition of the family. If it's a single parent family, the family size will be smaller. If it's a 2-parent family, the size could be bigger. So I've been at Room at the Inn for 8 months, and we've never had a family that had more than 3 children in it, even with a single parent.
So then the maximum you'd suggest is 5, 2 parents and 3 children?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, some of the rooms are bigger than others at the rectory, so there's like one side, we could fit a much larger family in one side because it's just a much larger suite. The other ones are a little bit smaller and we would accommodate. It's the same in our current building. We are using office space for sleeping rooms, so depending on the size of the family and the size of the office, we determine where they go. And if a family is too large for our accommodation, they'll go to another shelter.
And what is, where are you currently at now? What's your address now?
It's 3415 Bridgeland Drive in Bridgeton, so right off McKelvey in a small office park across from DePaul Hospital.
Okay.
And we've been there for 20-plus years.
Are overnight visits allowed?
No visitors at all are allowed, not during the day or at night.
Is there going to be on-site security for the facility?
Yes, we have a camera system in our current facility. We're going to have a camera system at the rectory to monitor both inside and outside. And then, like I said, we have 24-hour staff on site.
And you've already told us that there's a curfew of quiet time at 8 o'clock, and then curfew is at 11 p.m.?
Yes.
What time does that end at?
It depends on if clients have to go to work, but normally we want our clients up and moving by 8 o'clock in the morning so that they can start their services with our staff.
What is the length of stay allowed for a family?
So we are technically a 30-day temporary shelter, but as you may know, there's a significant lack of affordable housing in St. Louis, in the St. Louis region, and so we're running at about 50 days per family right now, which is average for other shelters.
And I'm guessing there's a communal kitchen, is that what I understand?
There is, yeah, and that's what we have today.
Do the clients prepare their own food, or do you have people that prepare the food for the client?
Both. So part of our programming is to make sure that clients are ready to be successful in permanent housing. So they prepare most of their own meals, breakfast and lunch usually every day, dinner most days of the month. 4 or 5 times a month, we have a congregation or a community partner bring in a meal for our clients.
Mm-hmm. And the other advantage to the side is the school properties are with its own full cafeteria. So if we have, as we try this out and we realize it doesn't work, they're just going to walk 50 yards across the parking lot and cook in that cafeteria.
Okay, very good, thank you. What about recreational facilities for the children?
So on our site right now, we have a playground and we have a nice parking lot where kids can kind of run and play and ride bikes. We wouldn't have a playground at St. Rose, but we would have a similar parking lot, especially in the months or times when there is a school next door, so when school is not in, for the kids to be able to play right there on site.
How do you all handle rule violations?
We have we have a resident handbook, so every resident is given that handbook when they come into the shelter, and they read it with their case manager and then sign off that they've read and understood it. If they violate any of the regulations or guidelines in the resident handbook, we do a write-up, depending on the severity of the write-up. If the infraction is incredibly severe, we can terminate that person immediately and find them. We never make people homeless again, so we'll find them, we'll put them into a hotel or find them another shelter to go to. But usually it's a 3 infraction policy. And then after 3 infractions, we will ask that client family to leave. But again, we will send them to a motel or to another shelter. And sometimes they self-resolve, which means they'll just move back in with family or friends.
Okay. I happen to be working in law enforcement, and we have a homeless type family shelter in the community I work in. And I'll be very candid with it, like this one is in a residential area. Where you are now is more of a non-residential area. So
Absolutely.
I do have some concerns of the impact on the community. And again, my concern is that you have someone you have to terminate immediately, and now they're in the community.
Right, so we never terminate anyone and just put them outside with their belongings. We always have a place for them to go. And if we need to keep them for a bit of time, half a day, 24 hours, we will do that in order to make sure that they don't become homeless again.
One of my concerns is and what we see quite frequently is the client, if you will, that decides they no longer wish to stay there and wish to be in the program, and they leave, and now they're wandering the community, which happens quite candidly with regularity. And then, so that's one of my big concerns is this evening. And I think that's all the questions I have right now.
All right, thank you, Councilman Egan. Next, we'll go to Councilman Shildroff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Father, in your presentation, I think you mentioned, unless I misunderstood you, at one point, the St. Rose
Community.
Facility was used in this. Do you remember when that was? Ballpark?
It would have ended in 2020 when the pandemic started. So our clients were going out to congregations every night of the year before the pandemic for the 20 years before. So I honestly don't know how long St. Rose was part of it, but multiple congregations in the North County community were part of our programming.
And there's usually one night a month.
So that would have been a one-night thing as opposed to
Yes.
a longer period of
Yes.
time? Okay. The folks who stay there might not have a place, but a lot of them do have vehicles, and they can go to work and stuff. They're going to be parking there, I guess? I mean, I don't want to assume anything.
Yes.
If they have a vehicle. We have very few clients that have vehicles, honestly.
Okay, so they're going to be using,
Public transportation.
Public transportation, okay. A lot of my questions were asked before, Mr. Egan. I do have some concerns because it is in a residential area. However, this community had Father Dunn's Boys Home for quite some time. They still have Mary Grove. I'm told that Mary Grove has a couple of buildings that are open. Did you approach them by chance, or?
I actually did. So I used to work at St. Patrick's Center, so I was part of the Catholic Charities family of agencies, and I spoke with their new chief care officer, Dr. Michael Meehan, about what Mary Grove might have. Unfortunately, the renovations required to use that property could not be done quickly enough for our needs.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. That's all I have now, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilman Shildroff. Councilman Manganelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pretty much all my questions have been asked. I will say I'm a member of St. Ferdinand Parish, and we had one Friday a month where, before the pandemic, we're housing, families from room at the inn, but it was just for one night. I didn't volunteer every week. Every so often I'd be in charge of bringing them fish.
Sure.
But again, it's one night where you're able to bring the kids in. And when I remember they came in, we had the area set up for them. They went into that room, and then they didn't leave. So I'm just kind of wondering how this works, and where they're full time on a daily. I mean, how is the supervision of the kids throughout the day, as far as do they move about the outside community, or are they confined to the campus, or how does that work?
So children are never without their parents, whether they're inside the building or outside the building, except when they're at school. In the location where we are now, there's a lot of retail. So there are restaurants, and there's a Walmart and a Target and an Aldi. And so families will walk to those locations together to do shopping and then come back. Kids are never outside without a parent. And we have staff constantly monitoring that. So they do move about the community, but usually only for their basic needs.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilman Manganelli. Councilman Caputa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple of my questions were answered prior to I turned my light on, but the one that Mr. Egan brought up about your occupation, how many of your occupancy will be in there, and you didn't know that, correct?
It will depend upon the census again. So in terms of room capacity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your capacity of all your families.
Yeah.
So our current census tops out at 20 in the building that we're in today. And that includes parents and children. So that's not 20 families, that's 20 people. And we expect that census to be at 20 or lower than 20, depending on how we fit into the rectory space.
Because my concern would be about a fire, you know, your exits, if something happens.
Sure.
You know, I don't know how that building's set up of the exits. That building was built a few years ago.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have an overabundance of occupants in there, more than what the church has had in the past, that would be a big concern for, you know, what that square footage of the building would allow for your occupants.
There are 3 exits on the ground floor, one facing Parker Road, one facing the carport, one facing the church. There's also a basement exit out from stairwell that leads also the same exit there. It's a split level kind of way to get, it's kind of different to get from the ground floor. You can either get it on this side of the stairs, it's a little like a half stairwell that meets to the final stairwell there. I'm not sure. I would have to look about an egress on the second floor, so that might be something that we'll have to do, one of those emergency ladders, something like, you know, should that ever happen, but.
How about handicap access?
We will need probably to build a little platform that will rise maybe about this far off of the Parker site road, but there's a sidewalk that's, you know, the same level as the parking lot. It's a bit longer, but would get them in there. There is one of the suites is downstairs if there's need for a handicapped person, you know, lesser mobility. The rest would need to be able to use the steps. So I think that would be taken into account as they're trying to fit their clients to the best places.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, I believe our building commissioner may be able to answer some of the questions that Mr. Caputa had in regards to, I guess, egress and all of that. Is there anything that you'd be able to state?
Father Bill did answer all the questions. Sorry. Thank you. Father Bill did answer all of the questions. I was there on site. I did a tour of the building, went out on the commercial inspection. There are 3 exits. The windows are all openable. They remain in an open position without assistance. There will be easy access in the event of any fire. We did meet with the fire chief or the fire marshal from Florissant Valley Fire Protection. He looked it over and thought it would be a good use. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We have a few more questions from the council. Let's go to Councilwoman Pagano.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
So I just have a couple of questions. There's something but I'm having ear trouble, so I might not have heard right. So are they willing to leave at will? If they get there and they don't like your rules, do they just pick up and go?
Well, it's at their discretion whether they stay in our program or not. We try to screen people so that they are the right fit for our program. But again, they always have to have a place to go, even if they're choosing to terminate their time with us. So we don't let people just grab their stuff and walk outside.
So they can't do that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Is there an average age of the children? Is there a restriction on the age? Is it like, can they have 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds,
So
two-year-olds?
we're one of the few shelters that welcomes children of all ages up to the age of 18 or, in my experience there so far, most of our children are preschool age children or younger. So we have elementary school children and preschool age children, the majority of our kids. I've only seen probably 2 teenagers in 8 months.
Those were just a couple of my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pagano. Councilman Egan has some follow-up questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. This may be for our city attorney. Is there a sunset on this special use permit? And my concern is, let's say we grant this special use permit and we think it's going to last for a year. And then all of a sudden the year comes up and we're not happy with what we're seeing. Does it sunset, or is this something, my concern is what happens in a year from now? Is this a permanent site for you all?
I believe the way it's drafted, or the intention is that it would be 1 year, a limit of 1 year.
Actually, at the council meeting, they amended it to 18 months in case there are any construction things, but after 18 months, we're done with this, so it's temporary.
This is sunset at 18 months then?
Yes.
And from the room at the end standpoint, we want to move back to our building. I mean, we would love to live here in Florissant for a while, but we've got more space back there, and we're going from 2 bathrooms to 7 bathrooms, so I'm really excited about that.
Again, my concern was that now we're going to run 2 sites instead of 1.
No, we are not.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilman Egan. I guess I just have one follow-up question. You mentioned that there may be multi-generational families that may stay at room at the inn. How often does that occur? Like with grandparents, are you talking cousins, aunts?
No. It's always a grandparent, a parent, and a child. And in my experience in the last 8 months, we've had 2 families that are multi-generational, and they've been grandmas, moms, and kids. 1 kid.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I believe that's all the questions that I have then. Before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing?
Well, actually, yes. I'm sorry.
Hold on, sir. You got to come forward to the mic.
Oh, yes.
Tell us your name and your city of residence. You have a loud voice, but we got to do things.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry I came in late. I'm Jeff Tessina. Yeah, I live in Blackjack. So that is a Florissant zip code. So whether or not I live in the city of Florissant depends on how you define that. If you define it within the city limits, then no, I'm not a city resident. But if you define by zip code, then yes, I am a city resident. But I want to ask some things to them. You were talking about the former St. Rose Philip Duchesne Church. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was going to ask, would the church be selling the building to you, or would you just be renting it from the diocese?
Just renting from the diocese.
And then after that, what are the plans for the church?
10 months in, I'm doing it one issue at a time. So again, to use it as best we can for the community. Right now, we do most of our day meetings there because when the school is in session, the available spaces at Sacred Heart are intimately connected with the school, so we would have to have gone through protecting God's children. So we do Bible studies in the site. I'm not sure what will happen to the rectory itself. It's kind of hard to...
I'm sorry, Father Bill. If you can, we need you closer to the mic so everyone can hear.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure what we would do with the rectory afterwards. It's not very marketable as is, and I think the diocese is probably not going to want to put a lot of money into it. So this is a best use. Beyond that, if I had a time machine to go forward, I would let you know, but right now I don't.
I would also like to ask about room at the inn. Do you still have a location in Bridgeton?
We do, and we're maintaining that building, so we own the building in Bridgeton. We're just moving out temporarily to renovate, and then we're going to move back in.
Okay. Thanks. I saw you once in Channel 24, and then I suggested to someone who was homeless, who was temporarily in my apartment, that she move into room at the inn with her 4 children.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Seeing no further comments, Councilman Parson moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, this public hearing is closed. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you very much.
all of your answers to the questions. Okay, the next item on the agenda is old business. The first item is bills for second reading. We have bill number 9979. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading. That's seconded by Councilman Egan. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Madam Clerk, if you can, please read the bill for the second time.
Ordinance authorizing a special use permit to Meats and More LLC to allow for a dine-in carry-out restaurant in B3 Extensive Business District for the property located at 145 and 147 Flower Valley Shopping Center.
Councilman Cyan moves for a third reading, seconded by myself. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Ordinance
Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's
Ordinance
all right.
authorizing a special use permit to Meats and More LLC to allow for a dine-in carry-out restaurant in the B3 Extensive Business District for the property located at 145, 147 Flower Valley Shopping Center.
Okay, before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill?
Yes, my name is Craig. Excuse me. My name is Craig McCullough. How you guys doing?
All right.
I am part owner of the.
I'm sorry, we can't. Can you? I know you're tall, but can you put the mic up?
I part owner of Meats and More along with my wife, and I want to send my condolences to Mrs. Laurie. Yes, we're trying to open up our smoked turkey leg joint up at 147 Flower Valley Shopping Center.
Okay. All right. Any questions by the council? Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, hearing no more comments, clerk, can you please poll the council?
Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. O'Donnell? Yes. Pagano? Yes. Parson?
Yes.
Siam? Yes. Harris? Yes. Manganelli? Yes. Egan? Yes.
All right, bill number 9979 passes and becomes ordinance number 8989. Next, we'll go on to bill number 9981. Councilman Parson moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Harris. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk, if you can.
Ordinance to approve the final plat for Plat 1 of Manors at Coke Park for the property located at 2300 Charbonneir Road in a planned development residential zoning district, PDR.
All right, Councilman Parson moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right.
Ordinance to approve the final plat for the Plat 1 of Manors at Cook Park for the property located at 2300 Charbonneir Road at a planned development residential zoning district, PDR.
Okay, before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? All right, hearing none, clerk, can you please poll the council?
Yes, sir. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. O'Donnell? Yes. Pagano? Yes. Parson?
Yes.
Siam? Yes. Harris? Yes. Manganelli? Yes. Egan? Yes.
All right, bill number 9981 passes and becomes ordinance number 8990. Next, we have bill number 9982. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading. That's seconded by Councilman Shildroth. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Madam Clerk, can you please?
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit to CJF Lucid Creations LLC to allow for a restaurant in B3 Extensive Business District for the property located at 147 Flower Valley Shopping Center.
Councilman Siam moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman O'Donnell. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit to CJF Lucid Creations LLC to allow for a restaurant in a B3 Extensive Business District for the property located at 147 Flower Valley Shopping Center.
Okay, before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? All right, hearing none, clerk, can you please poll the council?
Yes, sir. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. O'Donnell? Yes. Pagano? Yes. Parson?
Yes.
Siam? Harris? Yes. Manganelli? Yes. Egan? Yes.
All right, bill number 9982 passes and becomes ordinance number 8991. Next, we have bill number 9983. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading, and that is seconded by Councilman Egan. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit for Eric Vales, DBA Vales Brothers, North County, to allow for a carryout restaurant located at 2308 North Highway 67.
All right, Councilman Siam moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. In the most unique way. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Make me read that now. Ordinance to authorize a special use permit for Eric Vales, DBA Vales Brothers, North County, to allow for a carryout restaurant located at 2308 North Highway 67.
All right. Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? All right, hearing none, clerk, can you please poll the council?
Yes. Caputa. Yes. Shildroth. Yes. O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Yes. Parson.
Yes.
Siam. Yes. Harris. Yes. Manganelli. Yes. Egan. Yes.
All right, bill number 9983 passes and becomes ordinance number 8992. All right, the next item on our agenda is new business. The first item under new business is board appointments, which I believe we have none. Mary, do you have any? Okay. All right, moving right along. The next item on the agenda is requests. Councilman Siam moves to approve a request for a full liquor by the drink license for Meats and More LLC located at 145 Flower Valley Shopping Center. We have a motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Egan that's seconded by Councilman Shildroff. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, Councilman Egan.
Petitioner step forward for a clarification, please. Mr. Mitchell, correct?
Mr. McCullough.
Yeah. So we had a lot of discussion at the last meeting regarding the dual liquor licenses, and it's my understanding that you are going to carry the liquor license. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And the other gentleman on the seasoning guy, he's not going to apply for a liquor license, correct?
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Councilman Egan and Mr. McCullough. All right, so we had a motion on the floor to approve the request. Is there anybody who would like to second that motion? Seconded by, I didn't hear who that was. Councilman Egan. If we can have a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Caputa. Yes. Shildroth.
Yes.
O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Parson.
Yes.
Siam. Yes. Harris. Yes. Manganelli.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
All right, motion carried and the liquor license is approved. Next, Councilman Manganelli moves to approve a request for a full liquor by the drink with Sunday license for Duchesne Home Association located at 50 Rue St. Francis Street. There's a second by Councilman Shildroff. If we can have a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Caputa. Yes. Shildroth. Yes. O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Yes. Parson.
Yes.
Siam. Yes. Harris. Yes. Manganelli.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
All right, that motion carried and the liquor license is approved. Next, Councilman Siam moves to approve a request for a full liquor by the drink with Sunday license for Simmons and Terry LLC, doing business as Ooh-Wees, located at 1792 North New Florissant.
Motion to suspend rules by petitioner.
All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Egan, seconded by Councilman Caputa. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, if the petitioner can please come forward. Good evening, gentlemen. If you can, again, please state your names.
Jake Terry. Charles Simmons.
All right, Councilman Egan, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for coming here tonight. I just had a couple follow-up questions after our public hearing from last week. I received a notification from one of the citizens, and they believe that you are going to go to an adults only after a certain hour at that establishment. Can you talk about that, please?
Not true.
Not true? Okay. Our concern was that this was going to become more of a nightclub.
Not true.
So you're not going to go to the adults only,
Nothing's-
restricted to a
nothing's
certain
changed.
age, okay. Very good, one more question. And you're asking for the closing at 1:30, correct?
No. I mean, it was 11 to 1.
I beg your pardon?
11 to 1, right? Should be
So
11
you're
to
gonna be done at 1? I'm gonna say, I was hoping.
On
to go-
Sunday?
Why don't you tell me what hours you're asking for?
Yeah, we want the regular hours to stay the same.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
We want the hours to stay the same, like, Show Me said.
And so your closing would be at what time?
12.
12, okay. And that's every day of the week or just on some days? I just want to make sure we're clear.
12.
Every day.
Every day.
That's all I have, gentlemen. Thank you very much and good luck.
Great, thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Councilman Egan. You guys may be seated.
Thank you.
We need a second, though. There was a, yeah, I don't think we have a second on the motion. Okay, we did. Okay, all right. We had a motion on the floor by Councilman Siam to approve this liquor license. That would be seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. If we can have a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. O'Donnell? Yes. Pagano? Yes. Parson?
Yes.
Cyan? Yes. Harris? Yes. Manganelli? Yes. Egan? Yes.
All right, that motion carried and the liquor license is approved. All right, all right. Next, we have a special use permit transfer. Councilman Siam moves to accept the application to transfer special use permit number 8752 from Tamir LLC, doing business as Broadway Grill Sandwich LLC, for the operation of a restaurant located at 8457 North Lindbergh. And we have a motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Egan, seconded by Councilman Shildroth. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the rules are suspended. If the petitioner can come forward. Can please state your name?
Good evening, Muhammad Yaqub.
All right, Councilman Egan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Your business that you're proposing to open is located in my ward, and I came by to visit. I had not been able to talk to you yet, so I just wanted to make sure that before we proceeded in granting this special use permit, that you're going to operate this business exactly the same way as far as hours as the other business?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no changes in the hours?
There's no changes in the hour, just like from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock every night.
And there's no seating in this location, correct? It's just to carry out?
It's supposed to be carry out, but we put just some like 2 seats there, but just like for people if you're waiting for the food or something like that,
Right,
to sit
right.
down.
Okay, very good. And what about the no alcohol at this event, at this place?
I'm sorry?
No alcohol? You're not going to serve
No
any alcohol at all?
no. I own 2 businesses on Florissant, New York Grill.
Okay.
On Flower Valley.
Okay, very good, yes.
And this location will be like different area, like we'll try to make it like a grill,
Right.
healthy for people not frying food. That's why it's just make it a little different.
Okay, very good. I noticed when I came by today, there's a big old white truck in the back. Is that yours?
Yes.
Is that properly licensed and all that? Is that a properly licensed vehicle or is that derelict?
Yeah. It's
Okay, so I didn't see any license on it. That's why I asked.
no, we have a license in the back, yeah.
Oh, it is yours, then, okay.
Yes.
All right, very good. That's all I have, so good
No
luck.
problem.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, Councilman
Thank
Egan.
I'm done here.
You're good.
Thank you.
No further questions here. So, Councilman, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Siam to accept the application to transfer special use permit number 8752 from Tamir LLC, doing business as Broadway Grill, to Sandwich LLC for the operation of a restaurant located at 8457 North Lindbergh. Anybody want to seconded by Councilman Caputa. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried and the application is accepted. The next item on the agenda is bills for first reading. We have bill number 9989. Madam Clerk, if you can, please read the bill.
Ordinance authorizing a transfer of special use permit number 8752 from Tamir LLC, DBA Broadway Grill, to Sandwicha LLC for the operation of a restaurant located at 8457 North Lindbergh. Councilman
Egan moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Ordinance authorizing transfer of special use permit number 8752 from Tamir LLC, DBA Broadway Grill to Sandwicha LLC for the operation of a restaurant located at 8457 North Lindbergh.
Councilman Egan moves for a third, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Caputa. Yes. Shildroth. Yes. O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Parson.
Yes.
Cyan. Yes. Harris. Yes. Manganelli. Yes. Egan. Yes. Ordinance
I'm sorry, go ahead.
authorizing transfer of special use permit number 8752 from Tamir LLC, DBA Broadway Grill, I can't say that, Broadway Grill, to Sandwicha LLC for the operation of a restaurant located at 8457 North Lindbergh.
All right, before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? All right, hearing none, clerk, if you can, please poll the council for the final vote.
Sir Caputa?
Yes.
Shildroth? Yes. O'Donnell? Yes. Pagano? Yes. Parson?
Yes.
Cyan? Yes. Harris? Yes. Manganelli? Yes. Egan? Yes.
All right, bill number 9989 passes and becomes ordinance number 8993. Next, we have bill number 9990. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance to amend B5 ordinance number 8734 for Driven Brands DBA Take 5 Car Wash to allow for a change in exterior tower wall material from metal panels to EFIS located at 2925 North Highway 67.
Motion for second for discussion purposes only.
Motion for a second reading, is that what you're saying? Okay, motion for a second reading for discussion purposes only by Councilman Egan, that's seconded by Councilman Caputa. All. Okay. All right, now we have discussion. Is the petitioner, or are you present? Okay, if you can, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you
Good to
please
see
state
you.
your name?
Andrew Barclay, a resident of Ashburn, Virginia. I'm representative of Take 5 Oil Change Driven Brands, the applicant.
All right, Councilman Egan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Actually, I was hoping to call up additionally the building inspector, Debbie, the building commissioner. Good evening again, ma'am. Thank you. I know that I don't believe you were here at the last meeting. I might be wrong, but we did not ask you. Can you give the council some insight on the rejection of this proposal by the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Absolutely. The petitioner came before Planning Commission and asked for an additional change to the exterior material. The petitioner did come in February 22, 2022, and they did approve for the first change in wall material from light brick to an EFIS material. Since that time, the car wash found themselves in some competition and some financial issues, and they decided to move forward. I do believe that it was because the city had given them permission on the first change, they went ahead with the second change. But what I found out while writing the report was the petitioner had a lead time that was greater than the building time for them to try and sell it. So they went ahead and put in the foam material, which is what's there now. So the Plan Commission felt it necessary to deny that because they had not come prior to installing the foam.
Thank you very much. Sir, I have a couple questions for you. Have you been by this property recently, sir?
Yes, I drove by on the way to the meeting this evening.
Oh, how'd it look? It's beautiful,
The
isn't it?
building looks good, but there's a little bit of grass in the right-of-way, which we already, Mr. Irvin notified me last week, and we had already reached out to a contractor. We've been pushing them to get that mowed.
Yeah, the weeds are as tall as me.
They're not that bad, but
Would you
the
like to
rest
see
of the site, the rest of the site looks good. It's just right in the very front does look bad, and I recognized that last week. And as I mentioned, we have already been on our contractor to get somebody out here to mow it.
I'll be honest with you, I was very disappointed with the way it looked today. One of my residents called me.
I understand, but that's not relevant to why we're here this evening.
What it's relevant to, sir, is the manner in which you plan on conducting the business in the city of Florissant. If this is how you're treating the city of Florissant and the residents prior, if you knew a week ago that it needed cutting, why didn't it get cut a week ago? But now what this is, to me, is indicative of how you plan on owning your business and treating your business, although I'm aware you're trying to sell it. That's all I have for you.
As I mentioned, we've already been pushing our contractor to get it cut. I can't go out there and cut it myself. I don't live around here. We've been pushing our contractor. We've been having issues with them during construction and even after construction. I do apologize for the overgrown growth, but it's not the only site in the city that is like that. It's been hot. Other people haven't been cutting the grass, and I'm sure our contractor hasn't been able to find somebody that's willing to go out in this heat and cut it. But as I mentioned, we are pushing our contractor to get it taken care of.
And it is hot at my house and my grass is cut, and if you don't cut your grass in the city of Florissant, Ward 3, we give you a ticket. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have some more questions. Thank you, Councilman Egan. Councilman Caputa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I have a question. Why did this get changed in the first place? How did this happen to become from the steel panel to EFIS?
So I believe you were not present at the last meeting.
I was not present.
I went into a little bit of detail. When our company bought a car wash group in 2020, we got some prototypical plans that included these metal panels. However, our construction group never used the metal panels. So out of the hundreds of car washes we've built in the last couple of years, we've always gone with the EFIS on the tower structure. Unfortunately, the earlier plans on this site included the metal panels, and most of our other architects made revisions to the plans. In this case, the revisions were made, but the revised plans were not submitted for final approval, is my understanding. This was prior to me being at the company, but like as I mentioned, all the other car washes we've built, we've never used the metal panels. They take a long time for manufacture and delivery. They don't look as good as the EFIS. They aren't as easy to repair as the EFIS is, and they allow more issues with water intrusion than the EFIS does.
So you're saying that you weren't on with the company prior to this?
Not when this was first started. Now, some information that Mr. Irvin brought up, apparently there was at one point a request for the EFIS, is that correct? So this wasn't a new issue.
This was not a new issue from the files that I've read. So the city did give them permission to change some of the exterior material on February 22nd, 2022, under an approved ordinance from the city council. But the plans that were in the file did not show the changes to the tower until it came up at this last meeting, at the last commission meeting.
So you're saying you changed the tires, the tower, you just deviated from the plans?
Well, we put in a request, which apparently was approved.
But did you get approved by the request?
The request was approved, but apparently the plans were not correctly in the file. She just stated that our request for EFIS was approved.
But now you're coming in and
Well, we were told because the plans in your file did not match what was built, we had to come to planning and zoning. And because they held a grudge against us because of construction issues, they denied the request. But it sounds like officially the request was approved 2 years ago. It's just the correct plans were not included in your files.
So where did that?
So There were two different changes. So the initial plans that were submitted had all brick as required by the Masonry Code in Chapter 505. Then they came back and changed a portion of the building for EFS, but I don't think it included the tower. It only included the front wall. So the tower was still going to be metal panels. So then the builder came in and said, hey, we had a lead time of about 12 weeks. We went ahead and installed the foam EFS on the tower wall, and that's when I said, hey, you need to come back to the Plan Commission and get that approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So we have some more questions by Mr. Manganelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I stated before, I've been dealing with, in my industry with EFS for 30 years, and it's never a good experience. Is there any type of transferable warranty that comes with this product? Because any kind of warranty that they give to you, the building's going to be sold. So is that warranty going to be transferred over?
There is a warranty from the company, the contractor. I believe in some previous notes, he mentioned a year warranty, which would be transferable to the purchaser.
How many years?
1 year.
1 year. Okay. Okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilman Manganelli. We now have some questions by Councilman Harris.
Okay, I don't think it's a question. It's kind of just a comment that at the last meeting we had a gentleman here who owns a local car wash and is interested in buying this property. And I'm just going to say it's my preference that to move this forward in order for the local owner to be able to purchase this property. I just don't want to belabor all of this and the back and forth. That's what I want to say. I want to say I'd like to move this through somehow, to move on somehow, so that the local owner can purchase this. And I think we'll get better results moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Harris. Do we have any more comments or questions for our petitioner here? I would like to make a motion to postpone the second reading that we have here. Is there anybody that would like to second that? No. All right, there is no second, so let's proceed with the, that was just the first reading.
Okay, so we didn't actually vote on the second reading. So what you just asked them to do is postpone that second reading.
Okay.
And they said no, so now we have to vote on the second reading.
All right, so I had been instructed that we have to vote on the second reading. All right, so Councilman Parson moves for a second reading on this matter, seconded by Councilman Harris. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Madam Clerk, can you please read the bill? Did we?
Can we do a voice vote? Because I don't know.
I'm sorry. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Caputa?
No.
This is on the second reading. Yeah, okay. No? Shildroth? No. O'Donnell? No. Pagano? Parson?
Yes.
Siam? No? Harris?
Yes.
Manganelli?
No.
Egan?
All right, that motion for the second reading did not pass. Correct? Okay. All right, let's go on to the next item on the agenda, which is bill number 9991. Madam Clerk, can you please read the bill?
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit for Kenneth Daniels, Kenny D's, to allow for a carryout restaurant in a B1 local shopping district for the property located at 1939 Washington.
Bill number 9992.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Florissant to enter into agreement with Johnny Landolph Chevrolet Incorporated for the lease of city-owned parking spaces located at 4575 Washington.
All right, the next item on the agenda is council announcements. I'm sorry, Councilman Shutoff, did I miss your question here? I apologize. Is there, you want to be the first to do council announcements?
990, I wanted to say something.
I'm open to having you
Okay,
state your piece. Okay.
I just wanted to say, at our last meeting, I did ask the potential buyer if he would, was this a deal breaker, if he did not adhere to the masonry code, and he said no. So he would comply and still purchase the property. I just wanted to say that.
All right, thank you, Councilman Shuldroff. I apologize for missing you earlier. Now we're on the council announcements. Councilman Manganelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sure there'll be many people up here with 4th of July being next week that will mention the 4th of July and fireworks. I just wanted to let everybody know how I spent the 5th of July last year, helping a family that their house caught fire after fireworks hit their property and did significant damage to their home and disrupted their family life tremendously. So in the spirit of thinking of your neighbors, please refrain from fireworks this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Manganelli. Do we have any more council announcements?
Just me.
All right, hearing none. The next item on the agenda is a message from our mayor.
We're going to have a plaque dedication for former Councilman John Gribb, which is set for this Wednesday in front of City Hall, just before the start of our second Wednesday night out festivities. The plaque dedication will be at 5:30, and then the movie Wonka will be here on the grounds of the City Hall at 7:45. And if it's okay with Mr. Manganelli, we're going to go ahead and shoot fireworks off at the Egan Center. Okay, the Egan Center at about 9:15 on the 4th of July. And this will be we're going to be also hosted our Music Under the Stars concert series, which is going to start on July 4th with the Z Band. And then it'll run the next 8 weeks at St. Ferdinand Park. And those will start at 6 o'clock and run until 9 o'clock. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. The next regular meeting for the City Council will be on Monday, July the 8th. Councilwoman Pagano moves to adjourn the regular meeting, seconded by Councilman Caputa. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned.